The following podcast is scheduled for one fall. I'm your reigning, defending, undisputed host, Sexy Thor, and this is episode 18 of The Ring of Thunder. Raw started off in chaos as Asuka was already fighting with Sasha Banks and Bayley as Samoa Joe is trying to restore order for the double contract signing, and as it was restored, Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre came out for their signing. Once everyone got seated, Drew and Dolph traded words, and Drew said he'll allow Dolph to choose the stipulation. Before Dolph could pick, Asuka interrupted with angry Japanese and signed the contract. She was added again with Sasha and Bayley, which allowed Dolph to attempt a super kick that Drew caught. It all ended with Sasha, Bayley, and Dolph retreating out of the ring. Andrade and Angel Garza were scheduled to have a match next, but Big Show had to pull rank and go out to the ring first to get Randy Orton out here, but just got Zelina, Andrade, and Angel, who were highly irritated with Show. Andrade and Angel were about to pounce when Ric Flair came out and told Big Show that Randy will deal with him when he feels like, but in the meantime Andrade and Angel can have at it. They were about to resume when the Viking Raiders came out and their match started. Halfway through, Andrade just got pissed for whatever reason and almost walked out, but Zelina got him back in and they ended up winning, but Andrade left ahead of Zelina and Angel, so trouble still in paradise. Ruby Riott was trying to call Liv Morgan for whatever reason, and the Iconics were making fun of Ruby for having no friends, so she challenged one of them to a match. Where shall this go? As Angel, Zelina, and Andrade were figuring things out, Ric Flair came up to offer his assistance with something off-screen. R-Truth defeated Akira Tozawa to get his baby back, aka win the 24/7 championship, and then got away from the ninjas. Seth Rollins and Murphy came out to ask for forgiveness from Rey Mysterio and Dominic for not what he's done, but what he will do to Rey in the future for the greater good of Monday Night Raw. Rey and Dominic videoed in front of their home and told him there's no forgiveness for him, just an eye for an eye. Then Aleister Black and Humberto Carrillo came in and chased Seth and Murphy out of the ring. Humberto and Aleister got to talk some, with Humberto giving massive respect to his hero Rey Mysterio and Aleister saying he knows evil when he sees it and there will be no forgiveness for Seth, only atonements. Then a tag match between the four got started. Seth and Murphy were victorious and put a Mysterio mask on Humberto and tried to sacrifice his eye to the steel steps, but Aleister interfered, but Seth did manage to curb stomp Humberto's head on the steps anyway. After a tribute to The Undertaker, Lana came up to Ruby Riott, who was warming up, and basically sold Natalya like she was the Monday Night Messiah. Peyton Royce defeated Ruby right afterwards, so Ruby's not doing so hot either, so we can maybe see where this is going. Big Show defeated Andrade after Angel Garza was the one who walked out this time because he was ready to offer up Angel to a fresh Big Show, but once Angel got some momentum, Andrade tagged himself in and then got what was coming. MVP defeated Apollo Crews thanks to a distraction from Bobby Lashley, followed by a big boot and a suplex pin. Apollo started wailing on MVP until Lashley locked in the full Nelson, and it took Ricochet and Cedric Alexander to kick him loose. That turned into a match between Ricochet and Bobby Lashley, which started with Lashley thrashing Ricochet all over the place. But Ricochet mounted quite the comeback, despite MVP also trying to cause that distraction, but Bobby slammed him into the canvas and locked in the full Nelson and submitted Ricochet. Cedric Alexander went in to check on Ricochet and got full Nelson as well. And then in the main event, Sasha Banks and Dolph Ziggler defeated Asuka and Drew McIntyre.
You have 30 seconds to describe Thunder Talk.
It's pop culture.
With a twist.
It's music.
LGBTQ+.
And comedy.
Well, dark comedy.
It's nerd junk.
It's comic books.
Video games.
Conventions.
Yeah, nerd junk.
And social commentary.
It's woke, yo.
Yeah, and nerd junk.
Woke nerd junk.
Thunder Talk is all over the place.
Every place you want to be.
Thunder Talk is a proud member of the ESO Network. Find us at thundertalk.org and download us on all podcast platforms.
Impact started with the announcement that the Slammiversary main event will be the Impact World title match, now being a fatal four-way between Trey, Ace Austin, Eddie Edwards, and a mystery contender in the place of recently terminated Tessa Blanchard and Michael Elgin. And Chris Bay defeated Suicide, and the ref approached Bay and Johnny Swinger afterwards and informed them that Swinger will be banned from ringside when Bay gets his X Division Championship opportunity at Slammiversary. The new episode of Locker Room Talk with Madison Rayne and Johnny Swinger had Johnny Bravo and Rosemary as the guests, and Madison was trying to find out what's going on between Bravo and Rosemary, but got nothing but Bravo trying to fight Swinger when he tried to hit on Rosemary, and Taya Valkyrie interrupting to ask Rosemary to be her tag team partner. Sigh. The North had a scuffle with Ken Shamrock about them jumping him last week when Sami Callihan zapped himself in and chased them off. They were mad about it, so they went to Scott D'Amore and gave them just what they needed, a match against Callihan and Shamrock at Slammiversary with the titles on the line. Woohoo! Moose defeated Crazy Steve to retain his TNA Heavyweight Championship, and then started attacking Crazy Steve until a couple refs and Tommy Dreamer broke it up. And good on Tommy for having a mask on. Tommy then cut a hell of a promo roasting Moose for being a waste of great talent in both the NFL and professional wrestling. Hernandez defeated both the Deaners in arm wrestling and is making that money. Kiera Hogan defeated Havoc, so her team with Tasha Steelz picked up their second win in a row. Moose is demanding an apology from Tommy Dreamer, otherwise he'll sue him and Impact. Alrighty then. Trey versus Madman Fulton ended with Trey getting disqualified by using a kendo stick, but he got what he really wanted when he got to beat the shit out of Ace Austin and Madman with a steel chair.
Hello. Have you ever wondered how much Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster sold Superman's rights to DC for? Or which popular football star was the Sam Wilson the Falcons' physical appearance based on? You can find all that and more at the History of Comic Books podcast, a podcast dedicated to the creators, events, history, and the companies that made the great comic book medium. Hosted and created by your friendly neighborhood JT Wheatley. Please give it a listen at iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, and all our podcasting platforms. Thank you, and go ahead and enjoy yourself a good comic book.
On NXT, it was the night one of the Great American Bash. It started with the women's Fatal 4-Way elimination for number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship. And Mia Yim defeated Candice LeRae, or eliminated her, defeated, same thing. Dakota Kai eliminated Mia Yim, and then, you'd think after, a couple weeks of sort of building to it that Dakota Kai would end up the victor, but no. Tegan Nox eliminated Dakota Kai and is number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship. Higher, further, faster, stronger, shinier, baby. Timothy Thatcher defeated Oney Lorcan. Rhea Ripley defeated Aaliyah and Robert Stone, who will not have to join his brand. Dexter Lumis defeated Roderick Strong in a strap match, despite Bobby Fish giving Dexter a sneaky kick to the face. So Roderick's hauntings continue. Mia Yim and Candice LeRae had a backstage brawl, and Johnny Gargano picked a fight with Isaiah Swerve Scott, who was trying to break it up, so we can see what's going on there. Drake Maverick went after Legado del Fantasma, but was overpowered and about to be struck down by Santos Escobar when Breezango came to Maverick's aid and challenged Legado del Fantasma to a match next week. Io Shirai defeated Sasha Banks thanks to Asuka coming to even the odds because, Bayley had to be up to shenanigans, and Asuka actually spit the poison mist in Sasha's face. We haven't seen the mist from Asuka since Becky kicked her in the stomach and made her spit it on her own face back in the Royal Rumble. Io hit Sasha with her always graceful moonsault and got the 1-2-3. And Asuka was celebrating with Io and dancing to her theme song because her song is a straight-up futuristic dystopian banger. On AEW Dark, Shawn Spears defeated Max Caster and didn't even need his Infinity Gauntlet loaded, but after the match, Tully Blanchard loaded it up, and Spears gave Caster one last punch. Lance Archer defeated Pineapple Pete. Ricky Starks defeated Griff Garrison. Scorpio Sky defeated Brady Pierce. Believe it or not, Brandy Rhodes and Allie somehow made it work and defeated Kylan King and Skylar Moore. With QT Marshall out for a while after potentially being exposed to COVID, this story might get more time to cook, and we're all the better for it, but get well soon, QT. Funny shit though, Justin Roberts actually announced them as the Nightmare Sisters, and Brandy got on the mic to declare they're not related and they're not a tag team. I kinda think you are, but who am I to argue with the greatest Chief Brand officer ever? The Butcher and the Blade defeated Low Rida and Fuego de Sol. Young Bucks defeated Peter Avalon and Brandon Cutler while trying to also teach them tag team synchronicity. Time will tell if any of it stuck. And on Dynamite, aka Night 1 of Fyter Fest, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy defeated MJF and Wardlow thanks in part to MJF's Dynamite Diamond Ring Fist getting knocked into Wardlow's face. Hikaru Shida defeated Penelope Ford to retain the AEW Women's Championship. Cody defeated Jake Hager to retain the TNT Championship, but Hager claims Cody tapped before the ref got to 3 and was so livid he knocked the ref out cold. Next, a video of Darby Allin skateboarding, both on fire and not on fire. Private Party defeated Santana and Ortiz while Orange Cassidy was sitting at commentary with Chris Jericho, who lost it and started attacking Cassidy early before their match next week. Taz got on the mic to take jabs at Jon Moxley in kayfabe and at WWE in real life. And also their World Championship match has been delayed a week to Fight for the Fallen on the 15th. Finally, the AEW Tag Team Championship between Hangman Page and Kenny Omega versus Best Friends started with Best Friends being dropped off by Trent's mom, who told them to have fun, which is one of the greatest things of the decade. Halfway through, FTR came out with lawn chairs and beers to watch the rest of the match, and after Omega and Page were victorious, FTR came in the ring to shake hands and offer beers. Kenny Omega is straight edge, so after he toasted with them, he dumped out the beer, which FTR took offense to and got in his face. Even Page was like, "What the fuck, Kenny?" But the Young Bucks came out and broke things up. And on NXT UK, it was another Superstar Picks episode. Nikki Cross picked Aoife Valkyrie defeating Isla Dawn on March 5th, 2020. William Regal picked Noam Dar defeating A-Kid on March 26, 2020. And Drew McIntyre picked Pete Dunne defeating Mark Andrews in the semifinals of the first WWE United Kingdom Championship on January 15th, 2017.
Did you ever wonder why there are 24-hour kid networks? In my book, The Best Saturdays of Our Lives, I write about how Saturday morning became a competitive business and the proving ground for what would become the 24-hour kid network. My book covers the big bang of the 1960s explosion of high ratings to the early digital age of Saturday morning's last hurrah, the 1990s. You can purchase my book by going to thebestsaturdaysofourlives.com, and I will ship you a signed copy.
SmackDown started with Michael Cole interviewing Matt Riddle in the ring. He told the story about getting frostbite on his feet as a child, and while he recovered, his feet burn when he puts on shoes, so he fights barefoot and always wears flip-flops. Pretty sure that's a kayfabe reason, but yeah, we'll go for it. Corbin came out to threaten Riddle, and while Riddle was ready for a fight, Corbin had him fight John Morrison instead. Matt won and was chased out of the ring by Corbin and Miz, but was then attacked by AJ Styles. Then Drew Gulak started a brawl with him to pretty much get the Intercontinental Championship match started. Daniel Bryan was on hand via Zoom to give his perspective on commentary during the match, and AJ Styles won with a Styles Clash and then propped Gulak on the ropes, hit him with a phenomenal forearm, and got the 1-2-3 in a very send a message kind of way. Sasha Banks and Bayley came out to the ring to debut their own tribute video since The Undertaker got one, and they're just at that level, I guess. After the video, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross came out, and this time Sasha volunteered Bayley for a match against Alexa, which ended when Nikki's temper got the best of her, which caused the ref to get distracted, and Sasha to hit Alexa, so Nikki attacked her, then Bayley. The next video is a preview for the Wyatt Swamp fight happening at Extreme Rules. Part of the way into the Kofi Kingston-Shinsuke Nakamura match, Big E and Cesaro were ejected for Cesaro's interference, causing a big ol' fuss. It ended with Nakamura's flying knee and him getting the 1-2-3 on Kofi. Cesaro came back out and brought out a table, but Big E chased them off. And next week, Kofi and E will defend the SmackDown Tag Titles against Cesaro and Nakamura. Finally was Sheamus at home toasting to Jeff Hardy, who actually entertained Sheamus's shenanigans by coming out and listening to his toast. When Sheamus's bartender handed him the glass, Jeff poured the drink on his head, cracked him over the head with the bottle, then hit him with a swanton bomb. I hope the bartender got a hell of a tip. 205 Live opened with Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Matt Martell of Everrise, but was thrown out due to disqualification when Chase Parker attacked Swerve. Both men were attacking Swerve when Tony Nese, who had been feuding with Swerve for the past month, ran out and chased them out of the ring. He got the ref and whoever the powers that be are nowadays to turn it into a tag team match, which Swerve was understandably against at first, but got underway, and wouldn't you know it, both men worked well together, defeated Everrise, and it ended with a handshake and no betrayal. Fascinating. Legado del Fantasma made their 205 Live debut. Santos Escobar came out to ringside for his first appearance, while Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde were in tag action and victorious against Liam Gray and Leon Ruff. They worked seamlessly as one deadly unit, and will be quite the handful when they, along with Escobar, have their six-man tag match against Drake Maverick and Breezango next week on NXT's Great American Bash Part 2. Since we just finished celebrating the 4th of July and we're in the middle of this new Great American Bash, I figure I'll put in this little bonus segment of an overview of the history of the United States Championship and lay down some facts and records. It started as a regional championship known as the NWA United States Heavyweight Championship that was created and defended in Jim Crockett Promotions Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. On January 1st, 1975, Harley Race became the inaugural champion. It soon became the biggest title of the promotion, topping the NWA Mid-Atlantic Championship. There were United States champions that were recognized in other territories, but after the San Francisco territory folded, the United States Championship was undisputedly belonging to the Mid-Atlantic. Jim Crockett Jr. was able to gain control of the NWA World Heavyweight Championship in 1986, and the United States Championship went back to being a secondary title. In November 1988, Ted Turner bought Jim Crockett Promotions and renamed it World Championship Wrestling, aka WCW. WCW slowly phased out the NWA, and the NWA mark on things started to become an in-name only case. It became a little more evident when the name of the U.S. title was changed to the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship in January 1991. On April 6, 1991, Nikita Koloff destroyed the belt during a post-match brawl with then four-time champion Lex Luger, claiming he was the true champion. For the time being, Luger would just show up and be in action without a physical belt, but would eventually get the newly designed WCWized championship. Booker T was the final United States champion on WCW programming when he became United States and World Heavyweight Champion on March 18, 2001, as WCW was purchased by WWF and would be defended on WWF programming from here on out. The title was unified with the Intercontinental Championship when United States Champion Edge defeated Intercontinental Champion Test on November 18, 2001 at Survivor Series and was subsequently deactivated. The title would find new life a year into the first brand extension on July 2003 when SmackDown General Manager Stephanie McMahon would reintroduce the title as SmackDown's secondary title. Eddie Guerrero would go on to be the first WWE United States Champion at that year's Vengeance pay-per-view. It would go on to help build the stars of the 2000s that we know today, such as John Cena, John Bradshaw Layfield, Bobby Lashley, Matt Hardy, Kofi Kingston, and of course MVP's epic reign of 343 days. So as you hear about MVP's exploits in the present day with Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin going against Apollo Crews, there's real history there. Of course, the WWE, that record would be broken, at least in WWE sense, by Dean Ambrose with his reign of 351 days, but ultimately the record belongs to Lex Luger at like 523 days, and the record for most reigns belongs to Ric Flair at 6 across his time at NWA and WCW. Booker T would also go on to win the United States Championship 2 more times in the WWE. The United States Championship would also propel now current stars in the 2010s like The Miz, though his first reign was technically 2009, Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, as previously mentioned, Rusev, Sheamus, Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Baron Corbin, Bobby Roode, Dolph Ziggler, Jeff Hardy, Samoa Joe, R-Truth, and Shinsuke Nakamura, among others. It was in this decade that we had the second person after Booker T to be world champion and United States champion simultaneously. After WrestleMania 31 in 2015, when John Cena won the United States Championship from Rusev, and Seth Rollins did his famous heist of the century when he won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship from Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, both men met up that August at SummerSlam in a title-for-title winner-take-all match in which Seth was victorious with the help of Jon Stewart. Yes, that Jon Stewart. Daily Show. Just look it up on YouTube if you don't know. It's kind of funny. And fun fact for my local peeps, Kofi Kingston won the United States Championship for the third time on the April 15th, 2013 episode of Raw that took place in Greenville, South Carolina. So that was just a look into the United States Championship with its 35-year history across companies and the champions who would go on to become somebody or were already somebody and just boosted up their legacy with this legendary title. And that's the 1, 2, 3. Thanks for locking up with me in the Ring of Thunder. Kick butts, not nuts.